also kind of calling this blending basics, because this seems to be this mysterious thing that, like using measuring cups for sugar scrubs or lack thereof, it's not necessary to be mysterious, okay? So what I'm gonna teach you about blending has to do with roller balls, and it has to do with sugar scrubs. Okay, Rachel says, I can't get my audio to work or my headphones. I'm gonna switch devices. My laptop was acting up. Okay, all right, so this is just like an in-person class. My in-person classes are always in my kitchen, right? So I want this to be a little bit interactive, but I'm gonna tell you what's going on here with why I'm looking like this, like I'm like looking like hither and yon. So I'm having laptop issues at my house. So I'm using my phone here as a webcam and my computer here. So I have notes here. So you'll have to forgive me for looking a little bit oddball tonight. But anyway, I want this to be interactive. We have you guys, you know, now we all know like Zoom protocol, like it's a skill that we all know, right? So we have everybody muted to come on, but raise your hand if I ask you a question. I'm a homeschool teacher, so I do ask lots of questions. Please don't be offended that I ask you questions. It's only because I want to hear your opinion, your thoughts on things, okay? All right. So Marsha is going to be team teaching with me tonight. Yay, Marsha. She's in Tennessee. I'm in Virginia. We're going to make this work, right? So if you go ahead and pop in the chat log where you guys are from, maybe how long you've been oiling. I think a lot of you guys, like, I love that there's so many familiar faces that have been coming to our webinars. You guys, we're just kind of figuring this out as we go along. So thank you for your patience. It's fun. It's lots of fun. And I do this with my students like all the time. So, but the thing was in December, I don't know how many of us actually knew what to do with Zoom. I certainly didn't. And now it's like a weekly thing. So we'll answer some questions when Marsha and I switch off about halfway through this. Okay. All right. So here we go. So roller bottles. I'm going to use this as an example to teach you guys about blending. So roller bottles. You guys have seen these, right? So here's a fancy one. So I got this for one of my kids who's into marble. Okay, so it's got the flash on it. So you can be fancy and use your Cricut or your Silhouette to make these fancy. This is a new one I got, and I put this in the supply list. These are bamboo, which is kind of cool. The bottle is on the inside. They all have these little metal rollers on them. But here's the thing. Did you know, let's see, where's that pan away? Here it is. Did you know when you get a Young Living kit, of course you already have a roller top, we call it an Aroma Glide, and you can like make your own. When you have an empty bottle, just slop this puppy back on the bottle, and then you can just put whatever you want to in there. This is a pan away because I have like achy joints these days because I'm getting up there. Maybe you know how that is. I don't know. But I'm going to talk about this blend that I made. Is it pan away or is it not pan away? We'll talk about that and what you can do with these empties. Because don't throw the empties away because you can totally make them into roller bottles. So 3 reasons why you might want to have this in your skill set. Okay. Number 1, if you know how to mix up a roller bottle, which is totally simple, quick topical use, right? It's right there. All you got to do is unscrew it, put it on the pulse points of your skin. Right where you need to use it, that's where you put it on. There's no secret place. I know that there's some theories about reflexology and so forth, but you don't need to know all that. That's a lot of information. If you want to use oils topically, just put it wherever you think you might want to, except for like in your eyeballs and sensitive areas. We don't want to go there, but just use your intuition, okay? So when you first start oiling, people are like, where is the best place to put this? I would say just start with your wrist, start with behind your ears, these thin bones right there. See what happens, okay? Number 3, so quick topical use it right where you need it, and it's absorbed quicker than diffusing something. So when you diffuse oils like this guy back here, it's going to go into my nose, up into my olfactory system, and it's going to affect my brain and emotions. However, if you have a roller bottle, it's going into your cells. That sounds a little scary. It's going to go into your cells and it's going to circulate throughout your body. Depending on the type of oil, it can circulate within 5 minutes. Some of it takes up to 20. It depends on the chemistry of the plant, okay? So we can't say that essential oil penetrates every cell in your body within 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20. It really varies depending on what oil it is. Okay. So let's see. You guys know about these, right? You can't see them, so of course you don't know what I'm talking about. So you guys know about these, right? So these you can actually buy pre-made. If you ain't got time to mix up stuff, these are what I call master blends from Young Living. And you've got like, there's like a whole cool, colorful set. If you're collecting those, did you know you can get one for free this month? So you can get Deep Relief for free this month with your monthly order, whether it's Essential Rewards or it's just a regular order. So these are already pre-mixed, but again, we're going to teach you guys how to make your own. And I think one of the nicest things that an oiler does for someone else, it really is a heartfelt gift when someone makes a roller for you, because they've thought about what your needs are. Maybe they've listened to you and they've heard you say, you know, I'm really dealing with achy knees, or I could really use something to help me deal with my emotions, or I have a kid that doesn't pay attention in class. Any of the above, or many other reasons. If someone makes you a roller, it's so nice to be thought of that way, because you know that somebody cares and somebody listens to you. So why don't you do the same? That's going to give you a thought tonight. I'm going to give you 3 recipes. And whether you make them or you just listen in and you take notes or whatever, why don't you think about somebody who could use one of these 3 and give them away. And you guys all know these guys are like so cheap, but it's such a nice gift. You can order off of Amazon. We've given you guys, Marsha and I came up with a list of things, just different links where some of the ones that we like, but hey, you know, take what you want. I really like these bamboo ones though. I think they're pretty. Okay. So tell me, has anyone ever given you one of these before? Like I talked about giving one as a gift. Has anyone ever given you one? Raise your hand. Okay. Can you share with us? You can unmute yourself or chat on the comments if you want to. Tell us what someone gave you.
Someone gave me a focus one once because they know how much I need to focus at my cray-cray IT job. It was greatly appreciated.
That was probably one of the first ones I ever made to give away was focus, because that's kind of how we got into this.
So someone gave me one a long time ago, actually before I even gotten into oils, before I even knew Christy was doing this. My friend Leona is super into oils, and I have really bad TMJ. So she gave me a blend to help me relax when I'm sleeping so that I'm not gnawing my face and giving myself all kinds of stress.
Oh, I'm glad you're not gnawing your face anymore, Erin.
We called it the Erin Calm Down blend.
One of the ones I'm going to talk about is Calm Your Butt Down blend from Jen O'Sullivan. We're not going to make that one tonight. I'm going to show you where you can get Calm Your Butt Down. So maybe it's the same one or something.
Probably.
Wouldn't that be great? Anyone else have one? Andrea says, I give away a ton of rollers and love to give a personalized roller as a part of a birthday present. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I really like the idea of using like a silhouette or a cricket and doing these cool little designs. So, okay. So we're gonna be like the cool kids and we're gonna make our own tonight, right? Okay, did anybody bring their make and take supplies, or were you guys all just watching me and Marsha do our thing tonight? Which is totally fine. Erin, you brought stuff? Because I know you got your sugar, right? Sandy's got hers. Marsha's got hers. Okay, so here you go. And you guys know we're gonna give you recipes after this too. So if you've had one of those days and you're like, I don't really feel like making anything, just show me how to do the thing. That's fine. Okay, so one thing I wanna tell you guys is blending is kind of a misnomer. So blending is almost like, you know, you're putting water in a diffuser and then you drop your oils in, right? Okay, so that's kind of a blend, but those oils have not really like shook hands and said, hey, it's nice to meet you and what can we do here together, okay? But when you blend oils in a bottle like this, it's almost like chemistry class, and you're gonna make what's called a synergy. You're gonna put the oils in your roller bottle, and then you're actually going to synergize, big fancy chemistry word, okay? You're gonna synergize the essential oil molecules before you add your carrier oil, okay? So that's my first tip. I'll give you 3 of them. That's my first one. Is when we first started doing this, like 5 or 6 years ago, we were like going willy-nilly and say, oh, well, I'll just be quick and I'll put carrier oil in all these guys, which is a fatty oil, right? And then I'll just add my oils to it and whatever. But that's really incorrect. So to get the most for your money, because you know, these are not like Walmart oils. These are really good quality oils that we use, right? We all have, you know, we all know now, we're all woke. I don't know why I use that word, because I really don't like that word, but you're going to synergize these oils. So we're going to swirl to synergize. That's tip number 2. Okay. So I try to make that a little bit easy to remember because I like alliteration because I'm a teacher. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare what we're making tonight with a master synergy, is what I call it, that Young Living has. And the only one that I have up here for thieves is the rollerball. So this actually has carrier oil in it. But you know, this is one of those things you can say, often imitated, never duplicated, right? Now, why would I say that? Anyone? Why would I say often imitated, never duplicated?
I'm going to guess because we don't exactly know how much of each oil is actually in there.
Yeah, so we could like guesstimate on lots of things, but you need to know that the master blenders who have trained in aromatherapy, we can kind of like, this is kind of like synergizing kindergarten level. Okay, we really don't know unless we are one of those people who are very gifted in this and they've trained with master blenders and things like that. What I understand is that a lot of the things that they do is they'll synergize like 2 or 3 oils together in a certain percentage, and they'll let it sit for 24 hours, and then they'll put another one in there, and they'll let that sit for 48, and then so forth and so on. So it's not really what we're doing. So that's why it's kind of that's why they call it proprietary information. We really don't know. Many people are trying to duplicate thieves. You'll see, you know, all kinds of kind of funny names. They don't call it thieves. They'll call it something like, I don't know, swiper, no swiping or something, but you know, it's like what we have, but it's not what we have, right? So sometimes it's just best to not make your own thieves and not make your own stress away and just get the bottle, man. Just get the bottle. And that's what I love about these. And one more thing I do want to tell you, and then we're going to keep telling you that, but keep in mind that there are a lot of companies that sell rollerballs pre-made. What's the difference between ours and others? Well, the secret is ours are not super diluted, and that's why other companies can sell these for so cheap. If you're ever wondering that, like if your buddy is buying them from any company that shall not be named, not to joke on anybody else, but if you really look at the percentage, what's the first thing that's in there? Fractionated coconut oil. So you're getting a lot of coconut oil, not so much essential oil, okay? We do want to dilute with something like a fatty oil like coconut oil, that's fine. But really what you're paying for is coconuts and not essential oils, okay? So just keep that in mind. When someone says, why are yours so much more expensive? That's why, because you're really getting the true thing. Okay, so get your supplies together. Show me, what kind of rollerballs do you guys have tonight? What kind of glass do you got? Erin, looks like you have an amber colored one. So does Sandy. Now I got a flippy to the screen. Oh, Sparkle has blue. How did I know that? Do you have the ones that have like the glitter in them, Sparkle? The blue glittery ones. Okay. Rhonda says violet and blue. Christy's got, ooh, those are really pretty. And Marsha's using the old lavender bottle, so that's what I'm gonna do for one of mine. Yep. Okay, so here's our first oil. And here's another tip for you. When you are making a blend, okay, so our first blend is gonna be called Muscle Love, okay? And what it is, you wanna get out your pan away and your peppermint, okay? So, here's my 2 guys. But really, I'm going to use this blend that I made for the Aroma Glide thing. I've actually already made this, so here it is. But I'm going to tell you how to do it. So the reason why we're adding peppermint, and I love this example, is because in general, when you make a blend, you want to only add in the things that are well, let me start that over. When you're taking something that's already a master blend, like Panaway, okay, and you're going to add in something else because you want it maybe to ramp it up or something, or maybe you just really like one of the oils that's in this blend. Okay, so you want to add something that's in here already. You don't want to go and add Joy or something to this, which is another blend, although I'm going to contradict myself in a little bit about that. You don't want to add something like marjoram or black pepper or something like that. I mean, you could, there's no like crimes against nature here, but to be effective, you want to add something that's already in this one. So you're kind of just amping it up a little bit. Okay. So what's in Panaway, you guys? Do you know off the top of your head, all you brainy oilers? What's in Panaway?
Helichrysum.
Yes, ma'am.
Wintergreen. Peppermint.
Peppermint.
Clove.
And clove. Okay. So clove's kind of hot. Helichrysum's kind of expensive. Wintergreen's not great for people who may have to take blood thinners. Okay, that's one you need to be a little bit careful for. But peppermint, hey, we can jam with that. So peppermint actually is great for muscles if you're an exerciser, or maybe you have some tension in your head, that kind of thing. So let's add that one. So I think that's why this recipe is written this way, because peppermint is going to cool off those hot muscles. If you this time of year, if you're out working in your yard, I mean, what else you got to do if you're quarantined, right? You're outside when the weather's nice, working in your garden, you're out walking, exercising. The cooling sensation of menthol and eucalyptol is what's in this blend. So what you want is open up your roller ball, and you want to put in 15 drops of Panaway, and then follow that up by 10 drops of peppermint. Okay. And once you do that, remember, we're going to synergize or swirl to synergize, okay? So where do you think you would use this? Something that you might want to use for, like I said, if you're working outside, if you're exercising, you could use it to be a little bit more alert, focusing if you're working on a hard task to pay attention to. Where would you use it? Or what?
I put it on my knees.
Yeah, me too, Erin.
I got bad knees.
That's where I use it too. Maybe on your shoulders, temples for my head, Christy says. So that real pungent smell you smell in Panaway, do you guys know what that is? Does it remind you of anything?
Is it the clove?
Well, what I smell is the wintergreen.
No, I always smell
you
the
can
clove.
smell the clove for sure, but I smell the wintergreen. It reminds me of like ACC
root beer.
basketball.
It reminds me of root beer.
Yeah. Oh,
It does
yeah.
remind me
Yeah.
of root beer, Christy.
Yeah.
I think, Christy, you're right. I think I probably related that root beer smell to clove, but you're right. It's probably the wintergreen.
Yeah. So that, again, that's one that I caution people on. If you have someone that may be on blood thinners or something similar to that, wintergreen is one. It's like pure aspirin. Okay. So you kind of want to be careful with that. I'm not saying use this to replace aspirin. I'm not saying that because that's not very compliant. But what I'm saying is people who have that kind of propensity and they are taking that kind of medication, these are natural things. So it doesn't mean that they can't have an interaction with something that someone is doing or their body condition. So you always have to be wise about those things. So, okay. So now what you're going to do is you're going to swirl it just like this. Nothing magic. You don't want to shake it really harshly. This is kind of just a gentle swirl. And then what you want to do is make sure that you cap it overnight. Okay. So those volatile oil molecules aren't shooting out all over the place. And you're going to just let it sit. And then 24 hours has gone by-ish. Okay. Then you want to add your carrier oil. Now here's the question. How much carrier oil would you add? Any ideas?
I never know.
It's personal preference.
It is. It's really personal preference. Now, if you want a chart that says, okay, if you are a child, you must add this much carrier oil. Or if you want to say you're giving this to an elderly person, you need to add this. Or if you're, I don't know, you're a man, you need to add this. I don't know. I can give you a chart. There's plenty of those around. But really what I have found that it truly is, like Christy said, it's personal preference. I have very sensitive skin because I grew up on the coast and I went to the beach and put baby oil on in the 80s. Who can relate? So I have very sensitive skin now because of that. So I have to dilute everything. And I always recommend that people, when they first use oil on their skin, that they dilute it. And here's the thing. Keep in mind, diluting an oil does not make it weaker, okay? It just makes it much easier for your skin to handle it, okay? Because some oils are very, very strong. We know we have some of the strongest oils that there are because of how pure they are, right? So you're not doing yourself any favors, no judgment zone, but you're really not doing yourself any favors if you're using oil not diluted. First of all, you can stretch your oil more if you're doing it that way. But what happens is when you are putting that carrier oil in your roller ball, or even if you're just adding a drop and you're putting it on your skin, whatever, put that carrier oil. Think of it like almost like a liquid Band-Aid going over that oil right away, and it's pushing those oil molecules into your skin, okay? So that way, they're not escaping and you're getting every little cent that you paid for that essential oil bottle is going into your body, okay? So diluting does not mean weaker. Diluting means more efficient. Make sense? Okay, so you've got that one mixed up, and the next one is called Well Rested, because I need some of that, really. I have some night owls in my house. They'll probably be up until 11:30 tonight. Okay, so with that one, Well Rested, you want to have lavender, frankincense, and Valor. So Valor is a blend, and frankincense is in it. Lavender is not. So this just contradicted what I taught you, that if you're going to add singles to a blend, it should be the ones that are in the blend. But here's the deal. Lavender, what does it do?
It calms you.
Yes, it makes you go night-night. So if you are like, I need a sleeping Rhoda for my husband, child, friend, whatever. So that thing better have some lavender in it, first of all. So this one is very heavy on the lavender. It's 12 drops of lavender, 8 frankincense, because frankincense, you know, calms all the squirrels, puts the chickens in the hen house at night, just calms you down, and 6 drops of Valor. Okay, because Valor always, why not? So I was thinking about like what we're all doing right now in the quarantine life. We're staying up late. We're trying to get back on sleep schedule for work. This is a great combo. And so you got 12 lavender, 8 frank, 6 Valor. Okay. You guys got all that? All right, last one. This one's called Just Chill. Now, this one is very similar to the way it blends. It's very similar. The properties are different, but the way it blends is very similar to a Young Living blend called Awaken, because Awaken is a blend of 5 blends, which mathematically in the aromatherapy world of science doesn't make any sense, because you should never blend that many blends together. It just doesn't commute. On paper, it would just dilute the effect of all the chemicals that are in those oils, but it works. Awaken is a fantastic blend for people who are creative, out of the box thinkers. I'm sure we all know people like that. I have 2, well, actually I have 3, maybe 4 in my house. And so the blend of blends, which makes it very unique in the Young Living lineup, but you're going to make a blend of blends for Just Chill.
Wait, so
That's going to be, what'd you say, Erin?
what's this one called? Just Chill?
Just Chill.
Okay.
And it's 15 drops of peace and calming and 15 drops of stress away. So I think you're either team stress away, team peace and calming, or team valor, right?
So all I have is the peace and calming too.
That's fine.
Okay.
Michelle says she's team stress away. I knew that. Now you'll find that Jenna Sullivan is a aromatherapist and a Young Living oiler that I follow. She's probably my favorite teacher, and that's kind of a lot of my teaching I follow after her, and I follow her model. But she is one that says the whole blend of blend things just really shouldn't. It should make sense, but it does sometimes. So you have to, sometimes you can break the rule that way. But I want to recommend, as you're doing all these blends, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about this, just first level, is that you get a hold of Vitality, which is one of her books, $15.99 Amazon, and she's got her top 10 rollers in there. So there's some very awesome recipes there, very creative recipes that you're not going to find anywhere else that actually work. I'm a person who is very busy. I'm sure many of us, the rest of you are, and I ain't got time to play around. And that's what I really like about her, is because she's very intuitive, and her rollerball recipes are not Pinterest recipes. I mean, they actually do work. So
Holly, what was the second one?
the second mixture, the well rested.
Okay, well rested.
Yeah.
And Holly, if someone doesn't have peace and calming, what would you recommend in its place with the stress away?
Well, because it's very heavy on citrus, you could use an orange or a tangerine. But one of the things that Jen says when she mixes things up, you have a blend and it's one thing to call for 15 drops of a blend. That's a pretty heavy package percentage wise in whatever you're blending. But if you have something that says, let's say it says 15 peace and calming, 15 stress away, 2 helichrysum, which would be really weird. But if it did, and you didn't have helichrysum, that's when you could drop. You're going to lose some of those properties. But if it's a very minimal amount, like a lot of our blends, we'll see like 1 drop of rose. Well, you know, that's a hot commodity, and not many people have rose. So you can, she says you can drop that from your recipe and it will work pretty much just as well. It's just a nice little icing on the cake. But remember, with this Just Chill recipe, for that one, you want to make sure that you apply that to skin that's not going to be exposed to UV light going outside. If you're going to garden or walk, you want to put that on an area where you're not going to have sun beating down on you, because those citrus oils are photosensitive, and you can get a lovely chemical burn. I can tell you a story about that from a nice little young lady I know that some of you know too. So it does really happen, and it's not good. So just be preventative and don't like oil up and then go sit on the beach, because that's not cool. That wouldn't be good. So the Calm Your Butt Down roller, I want to say, is in this one. Anxie Away is another one that's good. Aunt Flo's Mix. I don't have to deal with that problem anymore, but some of you probably do. That's in there. It's just rich with information. So it's my favorite book to recommend to people. All right, Marcia. Do we want to take some questions, or do we want to scrub some sugars?
So I just want to make sure that everybody knows they will get a copy of those recipes. So if you didn't get everything wrote down, or you didn't get the titles right, or you need that title for a label tomorrow or whatever, you'll get copies of all of those with the recording handout. Did anybody have any blending questions before? I hope you guys cannot hear the TV in the other room.
So you guys, somebody asked me the other day, I just made my blend, and I think it was a sleep blend, but they had put the carrier oil in it, and they wanted to use that in their diffuser.
Michelle just asked the same question.
Do we do, oh, good.
Yeah, so great minds.
The blends are good, but what about the carrier oil?
I wouldn't do that, just because think how fatty that is, and it's going to kind of gunk up things. Like, I don't even want to use Valor because it has the coconut oil in it. I don't even like to use that in my diffuser.
I'm gonna go grab some.
Okay.
But
That's good to know.
But the other way around, like, you could just say, well, why don't you just get a glass? You could use this as a diffuser mix and just not used as a roller with any
Right.
carrier oil in it. So all those blends, Michelle, you're asking, can they be put in the diffuser? I just wouldn't put them in there with the fatty oil.
I saw a suggestion of using the dropper bottles and doing those blends as your diffuser bombs, quote unquote. So you already have them pre-mixed.
There you
Like
go.
your seasonal upper respiratory support blend. That would be a great one to have pre-mixed that you can go ahead. Oh, hey, there you go. Marsha's demonstrating. Go.
Yes, she is.
Ta-da! You're so smart.
So Donna asked how many lavender on the last one. That was the middle one, because I'm just now looking at the chat log. I didn't see it before. The middle one, well rested. It starts with 15 lavender, so it's real heavy on the lavender because it's very relaxing. When you're looking for a sleep blend, that's the easy thing to put in there because it's almost always going to affect the person who wants to sleep. Try lavender first. Like we say, just about anything. Put the lavender on it, right?
One of the combos we use so much, and you can tell the label's even worn off, is lemon, lavender, and peppermint. We use that so much, it got its own dropper bottle. And that way we can use it in any form. I can put it in the capsule if I need to, or I can put it in the diffuser if I need to. All right, are we good? We ready to move on?
Michelle, you said you need a gallon of lavender at your house. Yeah, indeed, me too. I'm totally out except for what's here. Yeah, I think we're done. Marsha, take it away.
All righty. So before we leave rollers, there's one other tip. If you wanted to keep some insect repellent, like in a diaper bag or backpack or purse, you could totally do a roller ball full of insect repellent as well. We've shared that in the past about putting it in a spray bottle, but that's a little large to carry around. So if you were looking for a small way to carry it around, that would be another option as well. All right, so I'm going to completely shift gears and talk about sugar scrubs. I was always intimidated by sugar scrubs. She isn't on here, but I got to give a shout out to Terry Wright. I feel like I studied under her for sugar scrubs. She made the best sugar scrubs. And so I kind of took her recipe and tweaked it. But I want to start with just talking about containers. So if you were going to gift a sugar scrub, you might want to look for a pretty container. And there's lots of places you can get pretty containers. I know that depends upon what part of your universe is opened up right now. You can always also order them from Amazon. So you have lots of options for pretty jars. I wouldn't get a jar any larger than this, unless you're going to scrub a lot, because there's no preservatives in the sugar scrubs. So and you're going to leave them in your shower where it's hot and moist, and so you really want to use your sugar scrubs and just make them more frequently. They're super easy. There's nothing to making them, so it's not time consuming at all. However, like this one came out of my shower. They're not going to look pretty after a while, so it doesn't matter. You can use an empty jelly jar. So I didn't tell you guys what size jar to bring along, because then you're like, well, I've got to get the 4 ounces, and with everything being closed, it's really hard to find supplies. So the only thing you need is a glass jar of whatever size of your choosing. Because if you guys were a little late hopping on, this is where Erin, did you use any of your oils? Are you good? We're not going to use a recipe, and it's all going to be okay. We're going to make it work. It'll be just fine. I promise.
Anarchy.
So when my daughter has friends come over, this is the thing they want to make to take home with them. The last time we were in Northern Virginia, I stayed at one of my team members' houses, and she stayed at her best friend's house. Her payment for stay was making the mom a sugar scrub. So they are very, very popular among our friends, and I do love to gift them. I'm going to show, because Holly talked about several other oils that were in the starter kit tonight, and I'm going to talk about citrus fresh and lemon. You can use whatever your preference is in a sugar scrub, but those are very, very nice sugar scrub oils. Those are the ones we're going to talk about tonight. All right, so is anybody making them along with me tonight? Okay, all right, so get your jar, take the lid off, and I need to make a gift, so I'm gonna make this jar, and you're gonna fill it up to about right here with sugar. So not overflowing with sugar, just almost to the top with sugar. And I'm gonna do that along with you. And I'll show you my jar once I get it full here. All right, so that's kind of what I did with my jar. Not full and running over, but mostly full. And then I'm going to take my jar and I'm going to dump it in my bowl. I like white sugar, so you can use whatever sugar you want. I prefer just plain, cheap white sugar.
Marcia, is there a difference between brown sugar and white sugar as far as consistency?
Yes, there is, and I've tried both, and it's a little hard. I like the feel of the white sugar. I really like the way the white sugar interacts with the olive oil.
Okay.
And there's a million different oils and several different kinds of sugar, but I really prefer the olive and the white sugar.
Okay.
But I mean, again, you can totally experiment with brown sugar if you want to.
Marcia, can people use salt if they want to instead of sugar? Because I know some people are trying to avoid sugar altogether, including on the skin.
So I have not done any salt scrubs.
Okay.
So I can't really say whether consistency wise it would be the same. But I would say just play around with it.
Thank you.
All right, so any brands are fine. I've got my olive oil here. Now this is where it gets a little crazy because you're gonna need to go up to about a third to a halfway of your jar. That's about how much olive oil you need. We can always add in more. So that's what I'm gonna do with mine, and I'm probably gonna run out, and I'm probably gonna need to grab my other bottle. So that's not gonna be quite enough. I played around with this earlier. I was trying to do it without measurements so we could work in whatever jars you had. We may have a problem. My hands are slippery. I was having a hard time getting the lid off. I'll come back and read all the questions later. All right. So you're gonna, you probably want a little bit less. My jar was new, so I got a little bit extra. And then I'm using Citrus Fresh and Lemon. We're going to use about 10 drops of those. If you were going to use a larger jar than what I showed you, you might want to use a little bit more. Now, if you wanted to use 10 drops of lemon, you could. If you want to use 10 drops of Citrus Fresh, you can. Or if you want to mix them, you can. So Christy gives this great tip. If you're not sure if you want Citrus Fresh and lemon together, just take those lids right together and just sniff them together. Do you like Citrus Fresh and lemon together? Then I would do them 5 drops and 5 drops. If you sniff it and you go, that's disgusting, don't put them in your sugar scrub.
So you put it in the oil?
Yeah, so if you want to do 5 and 5, just put them down in your oil. So I'm actually just going to do lemon tonight. I can't talk and count at the same time, I'm sure. And then you're just going to simply dump it in your bowl. You're going to want to keep a spoon, like a plastic spoon in your shower, because every so often that's going to need to be stirred up. And it makes it super easy to get out of your jar as well. So like I said, I got a little carried away with my oil. Mine's a little bit thinner than what I would normally make it, but it's okay.
What consistency are you looking for?
So you don't want it clumpy, like you don't want to be able to like mold it. Show me your consistency, Erin. Can you hold it up for me? Yep. That's good.
Okay.
That to me is also another personal preference thing. Like some want them drier, some want them oilier. It really all depends on what you like
I
on.
will tell you though, if you get them too dry, they're very difficult to use.
Yes, they'll hurt.
And then if you get them too wet, they're going to slip out of your hand and you're not going to get it where you want it to go.
Exactly.
So also the tips for when you actually go to use your sugar scrub is you want to apply it, you know, this time of the year. Be very careful doing the bottoms of your feet. And also it's going to make your whole shower slippery. So I always like to throw out that word of caution. But if you're going to do like your elbows, so you scrub your elbows down, rinse it off with warm water, and you want to do this at the end of the shower. So as then you hop out, you just pat it dry because you don't want to wash off all of the oil that you just put on. And that really is it. Citrus Fresh makes a very nice sugar scrub as well. We make a peppermint mocha, and if we were doing a peppermint mocha, I have K-cups. I would save a K-cup. I dry out my grounds, and I put a few grounds, a little bit of cocoa, and a little bit of peppermint in my mix. So lots and lots of options. Once you kind of make your first one that you really like, it's really easy to expand from there. All right, everybody good with their sugar scrubs? Any questions about those?
You know, I used to like making them with the consistency of the coconut oil, not the fractionated, but like the chunky coconut oil. And then I got to thinking, that's going down my sink drain or my shower drain. And I don't like the thought of maybe that hardening up in my pipes. I don't know if I was overthinking it or not. It did make a really nice, like fluffy, snowy consistency if you're doing it for a Christmas sugar scrub, but I don't do that anymore. I like the olive oil because, you know, hey, it's liquid at least.
And if you're gifting these, the olive oil and the sugar is a great price point.
Yeah.
All right, so the other oil that I wanted to talk to you about that we didn't cover out of the starter kit was Raven. And Raven's the respiratory blend in the starter kit. And you can easily combine it with a carrier oil of your choice and rub that on your chest. You could keep it in a dropper bottle like we talked about earlier. You could keep it in a roller blend as well. Super, super easy, tiny little DIY to make that Raven application easier. All right. Okay. So as we wrap up, I wanted to give you some suggestions for your next Essential Rewards order. If you're not on Essential Rewards, the person who invited you can help you get on Essential Rewards. This was one of the favorite blends that we made. I think maybe Rochelle was the only person maybe at that class from my house when I lived where they live. So this was an Imgrain and Ortho Ease massage oil blend. So you may not even know that Young Living has massage oil. It comes, Holly held up the carrier oil earlier. They're in the same bottles. I know, you're talking about sore knees. Erin started working out. The massage oil is amazing for that. And we can share this recipe as well if you need it, but it really is super simple. It's 15 drops Imgrain and then you fill up your rollerball bottle with your, I always have to think about it because we have Ortho Ease and Ortho Sport. So every time I say them, I have to think about which one I'm saying. Ortho Ease.
Okay, so I have Ortho Sport. Can I not use that with it?
Absolutely, yeah,
Okay.
you can. Yeah. And I looked at those earlier because I wanted to see what the difference between them was. So your Ortho Ease is wintergreen, peppermint, juniper, marjoram. Your Ortho Sport is wintergreen, peppermint, thyme, and oregano.
Okay.
So
To me, the sport is stronger.
I feel the same way.
but totally, yes. You could play around with those. And the M Grain blend is basil, marjoram, lavender, Roman chamomile, peppermint, and helichrysum. And I actually take it with me to my massages. And when my massage therapist finds a sore spot, she actually rubs M Grain into those sore spots and they almost melt. The first time it happened, I was just blown away. So, and the other thing, if you want to try one of the Young Living rollers, this particular blend only comes in a roller. And we've talked a lot about relaxation. That would be Tranquil. Tranquil, it is, well, I was going to say it's perfect for summer travel. I don't know if we're going to get anywhere or not this summer. But as you're trying to get back on some kind of sleep schedule after this crazy quarantine madness, it's lavender, cedarwood, and Roman chamomile. So it's awesome if you want to make your own stuff. There's no right way to do it. If you're like, no, I don't want to make my stuff, I want to buy it. So this is some options if you want to buy something already made. And so these things together, the M Grain, whichever ortho of your choosing, and Tranquil is 110.50 PV, which would also make you eligible to get longevity as well on your Essential Rewards order. So we just wanted to put together, if you kind of wanted to take it beyond the class, another product that you could try. All right, how are we on questions?
So Marsha, funny enough, so my daughter's got ADHD, so we don't do medication for her. I use oils. The school would only allow me to get the the Young Living bottles, not my own.
Oh,
They
that's
couldn't verify
interesting.
what was in it. So with the Young Living, because it actually had the ingredients on it, she's allowed to bring that to school. So, or if you're a parent, like just an idea, like it does make it easier to send them places with it because it does have an ingredient list on it. So other adults tend to freak out.
Thank you for sharing that. That's very good information to have.
That's nice that that's a school that recognizes that as a modality, because a lot of schools I know, at least 4 or 5 years ago, they were like, what? We can't, the smell is distracting. That's really nice that they're respectful of that.
Yeah, her school was pretty good about it. They basically were just like, don't let it become a toy. So she's not allowed to like pass it around. She can't put it on any other kids. But if she was having a moment, she was allowed to go to the bathroom, put it on, and come back.
So can you refill the pre-bought roller of your own blend? You can try those, don't come on and off as well. And you really want to make sure that you've got that top on good, because you'd never want your top to fall off and you to lose your oil. So for whatever reason, I don't find the tops on the roller bottles as easy to take on and off as I do the Aroma Fitments that Young Living sells separately. Probably if I was gonna make my own blend, I probably wouldn't reuse the Young Living bottles. I would probably use a 5 or 15 mil and put a Aroma top on it.
Yeah, Sparkle, it gets gunky. Like if you've ever looked at one of these roller bottles, whether it's a Young Living one or one we've made, like all that skin funk gets down there. I don't care how clean we all are. You don't need to reuse it. It's okay.
Hey, Marsha, somebody had asked about whether they could use salt instead of sugar. So I actually know a little bit about that.
Okay.
So salt is designed to dry things like food and pork, and it will dry your skin as well. So you can use it, but if you have dry skin, that would not be something you would want to put on your skin. It's going to cause a lot of dryness. Now, if you have super oily skin, it's great. Like it will help suck up all that oil. But if you have dry skin or even medium skin, it's not something you'd want to use.
And I've always loved the way that the sugar scrubs have made my skin feel. So I've never really deviated from that recipe.
It's a good
All right, we get it. We get everybody's questions?
I have just a little point to just learn from my mistake. And I ordered these little roller fitments on Amazon and thinking I was saving money because they were, I think, 5 or 10 cents difference maybe from Young Living. But my son was at working out and he put his Beast Mode blend on his thing. And as he was rolling it, it just disintegrated. They had to open the doors to the gym and everything. So learn from our mistake and just get Young Living's roller fitments if you're going to use make your own blends. It's
And
just
along with that, Julie, make sure if you're buying pre-made rollers, I know Holly did this in her list, but she didn't mention it in her talk. You want metal rollers.
Yeah.
You don't want plastic. You want glass bottles and metal rollers.
Yeah.
So even if you buy your own and you don't use Young Living's, make sure, because when that Amazon search comes up, those plastic ones are going to be cheaper, and you do not want those. That's just
mine was
total
actually,
complete
yeah,
waste.
mine was a metal roller, but the plastic around it was so bad. It's nothing like the Young Living plastic.
No, I know what you're talking about, Julie. It's the soft plastic that's around the steel ball. That's the problem lies in. So even
Yeah.
if I'm buying, the rollers on Amazon, I'm buying the fitments from Young Living because the hard plastic and the steel. I know I've had so many leaks with those. I learned my lesson the hard way too.
So that's a good question then. If you're not reusing your 5 ml and 15 ml bottles, and you are buying the 10 ml roller bottles off of Amazon, Christy, are you saying that Young Living's roller fitments fit on those? Oh, I never knew that.
Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. A lot of times if you read the description on the Amazon link, it'll say what size they'll fit. So you have to read and do a little research. I have some links saved. I can share them.
And always check your top.
Yes.
That sounds weird. Before you flip it over. Because it's happened.
So I have a question for you guys that are using your leftover bottles. So are you like rinsing them out before you start a new blend? Like,
Okay, so you want to hear how lazy I am, Erin? I'll tell you how lazy I am. I keep I don't know if you guys have seen my picture. I have like my empties. I'll look for an empty that contains an oil that I'm blending. So that's how lazy I am. So
that's not lazy. That's like a pro tip.
be like, I'm going to put lemon, lavender, and peppermint together. Oh, wait, I've got an empty peppermint. We'll just use that bottle. I do clean them, but I prefer to not clean them.
I was more worried about like if I have like, because I run out of specific ones all the time because those are my favorites. So like I will run out of release once a month because it's my go-to. But if I'm going to blend something that doesn't have release in it, do I need to rinse it first or can I just put it in?
I think if they're related in any way, you'll probably be fine because there's not going to be that much in there.
Okay.
And if you want a super easy way, like boil some water and just drop it down in some really hot water.
Okay.
Actually, what you want to do is take a Q-tip with alcohol.
Oh yeah.
And you want to rub it on the outside and inside because water will not get the essential oil out, but alcohol does. And then you can throw it in the hot water and it even takes the label off. So.
Okay.
I mean the hot water. Yeah, not the alcohol.
And I wouldn't worry too much about it though. I mean, just if it's, hey, you're saving yourself a couple of cents and you're, hey, recycle, reuse, right? So I wouldn't worry too much about it, Erin.
Okay.
Exactly.
just to throw it out there, is there anyone on the call who does not know how to take one of these off once they're on? Or the little trick about taking the orifice reducer out of the center using the cap?
Ever since last call, I do it that way all the time now.
Holly and Marcia, do you guys want to show that, or do you want me to, because I've got them here?
Yeah, you've got them. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have one, so.
All right. I was one of those ones who, when I showed this to a friend of mine, she goes, "Oh my gosh, I've been using a knife trying to pry that thing off, and the thing went flying across my kitchen and hit the ceiling." I'm like, there's a much easier way. So when you get your bottle that you want to put a roller bottle on, just take your white lid off, okay? And I still have the little orifice reducer in here. Use your lid to just pry that right on off, okay? So I just pulled it right on off using the lid. I can then carefully put that back in there, okay? If I wanted the orifice reducer back on, which I do with this oil, I just use the lid to screw it back in place. And I always double check to make sure that they're in place. But you do the exact same thing with your roller, okay? So this is Stress Away liquid gold, in my opinion, and you have your top. But remember, other key, remember your bottle originally came with the white cap, okay? You're gonna take this cap, grab anything out of it, like put it on you of anything that's residue on here, and toss it then, okay? Because when I first did this, I was trying to use the white cap to help screw this in. That doesn't work, okay? You have to use the black cap. So once you've got this in here, you're just gonna do the same thing. I literally just popped it right off using my top, okay? So I just pried it off and it popped right off. Okay, so if I was just putting it in for the very first time, I'm not gonna do it very well. I have to touch it. I seat it in there, okay? And then you just use your black lid, not the white one, screw it in place. And then I always unscrew it and make sure, yep, it's on there nice and tightly. Or you can keep your fingers off of it so that it stays clean, and just double check with your lid that it's seated in there well.
All right. I think we've answered everybody's questions. If you guys are making your sugar scrubs in the future, when I was practicing today, I did record my video, and I'm going to upload it to my YouTube channel tomorrow. So if you want to watch the recipe while you're making it, my YouTube channel is Blessed in Oils. I think if you search that, it'll come up. If you have any problem finding it, just message me and I'll send you the link. And with that, we want to thank you so much for coming. We are super excited about next week's class. So if you guys attended our day in the life of an oiler, we are going to do a similar class with summer in the life of an oiler. And we are going to take our top favorite summer tips and share those next week. Probably some pretty unique uses for some Young Living products, probably some stuff you hadn't thought of before. As you've seen, that all of our teaching styles are very different, and we all use our oils very differently. And so that's what we bring to the table whenever we co-teach. All right. So with that, we will say good night. Thanks for coming. And we'll see you next week's class, did you guys all catch that? Was Wednesday the 27th at 8 p.m. And if you have any feedback on whether you like the 7 p.m. or the 8 p.m. time, we are planning for June. If you could let whoever invited you know if you prefer that 7 or 8 p.m. time, that would help us plan a lot for June. All right.